Now on news that the coalition will abolish the government's fuel efficiency penalties if elected, as we just heard from Jake. The penalties will be applied under the government's new vehicle efficiency standard due to come into effect in July. Opposition leader Peter Dutton has dubbed the penalties an unfair car tax. Electric vehicle policy expert and adjunct fellow at the University of Technology, Sydney, Dr Gail Broadbent joins me now. Welcome to the program. Initially, what's your reaction?
Oh, thank you, Dan. Look, I don't think this is a tax on families at all. The whole rule is designed to encourage car manufacturers to export more of their low-emission vehicles to Australia, to encourage car dealers to sell more low-emission vehicles. As it is, a lot of people get access to tax write-offs, instant tax write-offs for businesses, small businesses, big businesses. And that is what is encouraging the purchase of very large vehicles. And let's face it, this won't affect families very much at all. Only about 8% of cars are bought new each year. 50% of people, motorists, don't buy a new car. So it only affects the people who are going to buy a new car. And when you think about it, about 1 million vehicles are bought new every year. And that is when we've got a fleet of 14 million or so, then that translates to about 7% of cars each year. So not very many people are going to be affected. So it's not going to be families. Most of them are going to be buying used cars. And really, it's just a ploy to design to frighten people.
This announcement that we're hearing today, that's what you're referring to there when you say it's a ploy to frighten people?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just to, Mr. Dutton actually said the other day, a lot of people haven't started taking an interest in the coming election. I mean, it's only 3 weeks away, but they haven't started taking an interest. And he's got to start saying things that will attract their attention. And, people just go, oh, yeah, that sounds terrible. And it frightens them. And they think, oh, we don't want that. But in fact, when you think about it, car dealers are going to be selling new vehicles at, there's minimal margin on the profit that they make out of the sale of a new vehicle. They're not going to be putting the prices up because really they make most of their money out of the maintenance schedule particularly from gas guzzling cars. EVs have lower maintenance costs than regular fossil fuel vehicles. And honestly, they make more money out of financing the cars. So unless you're paying cash for a car, you're paying through the nose if you're taking finance from the car dealer. So that's actually how they make their money. And so they'll do everything they can to turn cars over to actually keep selling them. So I don't think that's going to be what will happen.
Yeah, it's a good point you make about the interest, because it is often very, very high. I haven't got the direct quote from the Prime Minister this morning, but Mr Albanese was talking about when Labor came to government, there were a handful of countries, I think it might have only even been 2, that didn't have an emissions regime, if you will, Australia, and I believe he said Mr Putin's Russia was the other. What was the intention or the purpose of that suite of laws and regulations, and have we started to see that cut through yet?
Look, I think the interest in electric vehicles is going up regardless of that regime, and certainly it's to help us reach our Paris targets. Now, both sides of government have said they won't withdraw from the Paris Agreement, so we do have an obligation to transition across to electric vehicles at the earliest possible time so that we can help meet those targets. And really, people on the street don't think about those regulations. That is not a concern for them. That's for the dealers. It's what's on offer, and it's how the car salespeople go about doing their job. Because let's face it, car dealers are very skilled at, appealing to certain aspects of what people want. They understand how to do that. And so, if you're offered more possibilities, more different models in the EV range, then there might be something there for you. I mean, we've just bought a new EV recently, and when we got to the deal, we said this is exactly what we want to do a test drive on, and the fellow behind the desk said, "Oh, I wouldn't be buying an electric vehicle. And I thought, well, gee, this is what I've come in the door saying what I want. So, there's a lot of pushback, and that's been demonstrated in a lot of countries. The idea of the pushback comes from the dealers themselves. So you can, when they're making money out of the maintenance schedule, you can see why they do that.
You might have had to have given him a copy of your business card that said electric vehicle policy expert at the top. Look, just finally, it feels like right now we're at a real fork in the road, to borrow a metaphor, in this election in terms of emissions, electric vehicles and where to from here. Well, I wonder if you could give us an assessment of where you see us into the future as a nation if we go with Labor, particularly on their policy regime that's been outlined, or with what we know so far today of the Coalition's policy agenda in this area.
All right. Well, I just to start off, I will say I don't think that the Coalition are particularly interested in transitioning to electric vehicles. They've made that clear with their implication that they're going to reduce the tax on petrol for the next 6 months if they win government. I mean, that's a lot of money for the country's bank balance, if you like, and, reducing the tax that's coming in, they've got to make that up somewhere else. So that's a ridiculous aspect that they need to think about. But I think the Labor government are a bit more serious because they have said that they're promoting the rollout of electric vehicle charging points. And that's a really, really important point because Australia and around the world, this has been demonstrated in the academic literature, that the things people are most concerned about is the cost of the vehicle up front, but also the convenience of being able to recharge the car. Now, if you're living in a block of flats that doesn't have any power points, then it's going to be very difficult for you to recharge an electric car. So addressing those sorts of things is really where we need to go. And as a country, we need to keep rolling them out. So the literature is saying that for every 10 electric cars, you need one public charging power outlet on the street somewhere, so that the number that are installed, the deployment of them has to keep up with the sales. So the more sales, the more of those you have to satisfy the demand for electric charging. And if it's not easy, not convenient, people won't take up any new technology, whether it's a car or something else. So I think, the Labor government has said that they're supporting that, and I think we need to keep that in mind, that that's what needs to happen.
Electric vehicle policy expert, adjunct fellow at the University of Technology, Sydney, Dr. Gail Broadbent, thank you so much for your time.
No worries.